Well, we are now ready to go live with Claudio Zavala. Claudio is an innovative expert in digital media, and I can't tell you how excited I am to have what I feel like is this one-on-one session of learning with him, and I'm so grateful to all of you for joining us. Claudio's session is focused on driven by creativity, empowering others to share their stories. And Claudio, thank you for being part of virtual Spring Q and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us today.
Thank you for the invite. It's so exciting to virtually be meeting. This is really cool. First, uh, it's really neat. We're getting to do this in under the circumstances, and this is really cool to be able to get to share with you different ideas on how you can share your story. Um, a lot of times in the palm of your hand with the device that you have or with the computer, so many different ways that you can share with others who you are, what you do, so that people can get to know you.
Yep, and I've had a peek at your YouTube channel and seen that it is loaded with all kinds of resources. So, those 10-minute tutorials or even under 10 minutes, which
Mhm.
means that anytime, anywhere learning can happen really fast and a lot of creative options to jump into and play with.
Absolutely. Anything from photography, video, graphic design, anything that helps you create. I just love sharing ideas on how you can create almost anything. Pretty much now with the tools that we have on hand.
That's exciting, right? Because we are literally all just kind of walking around with one of these at any moment in time. And so I'm ready to learn.
Awesome, awesome. So basically think of it as you have a pocket full of creativity. Think of that song "Pocket Full of Kryptonite" or something like that.
Yeah,
Now, yes, it's pocket full of creativity. So maybe need to do a parody or some at some
I think
point.
so, right?
Awesome. So all right, let's dive in
All right, let's
um,
have some fun.
with an idea here. So this one is this one is basically one that you actually don't need to have an app at all. You can use your phone to do this. So I can go ahead and demonstrate, and then if you want to do it right where you're at, um, if you have your phone and you have your camera. So what we'll do is, so let me go ahead and let me share and my camera, and then you can do it right where you're at. So
Sounds good. So our viewers can do this right alongside us.
yes, absolutely. So what you're looking at is my phone, and let me see. I'm going to see if it works this way. I'm going to flip my phone here. So I'm going to go just to the camera app itself, just basic camera app.
Okay.
And okay, so there we go. Here, that'll work here. So you can do this either landscape or portrait mode. And so you're going to get a bird's eye view, or I should say, a Claudio's eye view of my office with my uh, Hershey's Kisses right here for
That's a good
relief.
snack.
So this is the quick and easy. This is a really cool way to share a story. Like, let's think of your day, like what you're doing. Maybe you're out for a walk. Maybe you're in the classroom. You walk into the building right in the morning, and let's say you're going to walk to your classroom. Here's the tool that you can use. So obviously, I'm not in the classroom, but what you want to do is slide over to your time lapse option on your camera.
All
So
right.
once you're on time lapse, and so again, if you want to do landscape or portrait, doesn't matter. And one of the things I like to share with teachers and anybody who's creating is be intentional where you're going to share it. So if you are a social media person, you like sharing on social media, think of where you're going to share it. And I think that's also great to share with students. Where are you going to share your story? If you're going to be on most, I would say, like my daughter, she's on Snapchat, so they're on that vertical format. Older folks like me, they're Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
I am on Instagram, but then you do the landscape. So whichever one, just kind of think ahead. So now here's a
And
really
can you
neat
tell
thing.
us the difference? So let's say, for example,
Where
I'm on Instagram. Should I be going vertical or horizontal?
So if you're on Instagram, depending on where you're going to share, if you are going to do an Instagram story, then I would do your portrait. I would go vertical.
Okay.
And if you're going to share kind of on your feed, then I would say landscape, because you could either go square or full kind of HD look. So hope that helps those of you kind of thinking of where you're going to share your story. So the time lapse idea, I don't know. I was just kind of thinking of ways, how can I share a story? And in photography, they have these time lapse photos, and they have the sun kind of sunlight going down, the lights coming on, cars driving through, people kind of walking really fast. So it's like, well, how can I do one? And so we're going to do this here. I'm going to demonstrate. What you want to do is flip your camera to the selfie mode so that you can see yourself. So you're going to see me here. So I'm going to look at this. So this is it's a little tricky because it takes a little bit of time as you're creating this. What you need to do is, and you really don't want to talk while you do it. So you're going to capture all these frames and you're going to capture them incrementally. Like it could take maybe 20 to 50 frames, but I'm going to try to capture it. And here we go. And I'm okay. So I just captured it really quickly. Now, what I would do, think of this now. Let's go ahead and let me play it. See. Well, so notice how fast it went there.
Wow, that was, oh, and I did one right at the same time as you did too. That's
So it's a
cool.
fast. Now, let me go ahead and I'm going to show you one that I created. So I showed you how I made that. So let me show you one that I did earlier. See if my phone wants to operate here. Here we go. Let me find my time lapse that I actually made a while back. So I was kind of working on this. And so if you see there,
Oh, that's fun.
so that was like 2 seconds, but it actually took me about 5 minutes to put that together. Now,
Okay.
what it was is I was kind of doing it very slow. So right now, when you saw me eating the little M&M and kind of doing this, you want to actually really exaggerate, go slow motion as you're filming it. So when you play it in regular speed, you're kind of like, so if you can kind of imagine in your mind right now that we did it, you're walking into the building of your school. So you're recording yourself walking to the front door. And if you're doing it while school's going on, students will look at you and think, what is going on? What are you doing? And you're actually taking like a 1 inch step, little by little, little by little. And as you get to the door, you open the doors really slow, walk down the hallway really slow. Now, the really cool thing, if you can actually get it done while students are there, you'll be going regular speed and the kids will be going super fast because
Oh,
they
because
won't be
they're
walking
moving
slow.
at their normal rate behind you.
So you are purposely walking slow. So they will be going super fast in your video while you are going slow. So basically you're basically walking, kind of sharing your day. So it's a really creative way to share kind of your day, what's going on. So I thought, that's a really neat idea. And that's all without an app. That's just, well, I guess you're using your camera app, but no app that you have to download. And I've tried it on an Android. I've tried it on my iPhone. It works. Just use your regular camera app and just choose the time lapse option. The key ingredient, remember, is to go super slow so that when you play it back at regular speed, you have kind of that. You're
And you'll get all of the kids' attention too, which is fun because you're right, they will slow down going,
absolutely. They'll
what
think
is he
you're
doing or what is
crazy.
she doing?
You probably have people looking at you like this as you walk down the hall. So the extension to this, obviously, so as an educator, you're sharing your story, but think about, when you're learning something, obviously you want to share it with your students. So think about how this will now transfer in your classroom. I mean, just the creative ways. I mean, if a PE teacher, for example, you're doing exercises, you can do them super slow while everyone else is kind of going super fast. You're doing some science experiment. You're putting the ingredients super slow while everything else is going fast. There's so many different creative ways, and that's just using the time lapse. So no app at all, just with the time lapse. So first
That's
little
that's pretty
little trick
cool, right?
there.
That's a quick hook into a lesson or a back to school night or,
Mm-hmm.
end of the year and so many ways to engage people with that and into a subject matter and with the education community in your classroom family.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, extend it beyond. Go outside after school. I mean, if you have a way to communicate with your students, on the weekends, hey, share your life, what happened over the weekend, capture a time lapse. Really cool activity, really cool way to share your story. So first one. So what do you think about that
Okay,
one? That's cool.
that was super cool because I did it at the same time you did, and I'm already thinking of the "I love you" one I'm going to do to send to my family.
uh, and you know, the other thing I didn't mention while you're doing that. So if you have someone else with you, let's say there's two people going at it, walking at the same time, you could always create some little post-it cards with like a little message. So as you're walking, you could even pull up the little message, you know, say, hey, hello, or something, whatever, some sort of greeting.
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, you could always just drop it as you're going, or so that way, because you can't talk during a time lapse because it doesn't match, but that's a way to kind of communicate again, or with just your images. So
Right. Well,
really
yeah, I was even
neat.
thinking the like right? Love,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a great way.
right?
Really cool.
Right. And send that to my husband and my daughter and my son.
Cool.
That's,
Really
yeah.
neat. Okay, it's time to roll up the sleeves here. Got to
Yeah.
roll about that. So,
That's
all right.
great.
So, let's go to something else. Let's do this. One of the other ideas that I thought of was, you know, sharing kind of your thinking, something that you are contemplating, maybe something that has sparked some idea, and just sharing it with words. So we're going to create something. We're going to create what I like to call like a selfie reflection.
Uh-huh.
We're going to use Spark to do this. So, how about, do we want to do this on the computer? Does that work?
It sure does.
So let's go ahead and, do you want me to share my computer, or you? How about you do it and I'll walk you through? Will that work?
Ooh, that works because then folks can see my learning.
Okay, let's do this. So,
Right? Anything I mess up on is cool because I'm learning, and then everybody else
absolutely,
will know, hey, that's okay, right? That's normal.
absolutely, that makes us better. So I like. So I'll walk you through. So go ahead, and if you go to spark.adobe.com, and we're going to get you started. So um,
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you.
perfect. That'll be perfect. And then I can see what you're doing. And then I'll do it on my end so we can kind of, I'll be walking together here.
All righty.
Awesome. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is head on over to, let's see, are we already logged in? Yeah. So what you can do is click on the little Spark logo on the far left, and that's going to get you into your kind of projects. And you'll notice you have some projects you've already made, which is awesome. You're already using Spark. Great. So go on up over to create project. And we're going to create a custom sized graphic. And, you know, we talked about the kind of intention. So Adobe Spark has different sizes you can choose from. So, you know, let's think of the pictures we have. So do we have our pictures going to be portrait again or landscape? The cool thing about this is if you decide to change your mind after,
Uh-huh.
you can always do that too. So that is the cool thing about this technology. Is so great. So I would say let's go with a social post,
Okay.
and let's go with Instagram. So if you
Okay.
go to the social post uh, right there, and then choose Instagram, I think it's the first one on the far left, and then tap on next. And we always get these really cool little messages pop up as it's kind of going to the next screen. So we have
Right.
our blank slate here. On the far right, there's a little plus sign at the very top. It's your add button. So we're going to tap on or click there and then go to photo. So let's find a photo. Let's go ahead and upload. If you have one on your desktop, let's go ahead and find one there.
All right. So I
So I'm
got
going
onto my desktop, and I think maybe I should have just stayed where I was, right? And my, I did name it Claudio. Let's see, recents. Well, do we want to have a single?
it could be a photo of a group, or it doesn't matter. Just the idea. So now here's the neat
Okay,
thing
move
about Spark.
freely or pin to background?
So we want to pin this to the background. So we want to keep it there so it's not moving. So we're going to pin it to the background. And oh, cool. This is great. I like this one. So we could, all right. Oh, yes. I like
This is our
this. So,
crew. We had a little bit of
woo,
a blip
yes.
last weekend, and we had to, so we moved our studio at,
This,
midnight.
this is really cool because now you can share what's happening in the story and maybe express what you were feeling, maybe. So here's the neat thing. So over on, again, we're going to go to that plus sign again,
Okay.
but this time we're going to tap on icon. So click on icon. It's really cool. Uh, Spark comes with these clip art images that you can just drop in. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see, let's do some, we can either do a speech bubble or we can do a thought bubble. What do you want to do?
Let's do a thought bubble.
Okay, so we'll type in thought bubble
Okay.
and then hit return, and you'll get all these different icons of thought bubbles.
Okay.
And so what I would do is pick one of those solid color like that, maybe the first one there that's solid, because what we're going to do is we're going to add some text here shortly. So grab one of those or click on it, and then the neat thing, see those little corner, you can resize it if you click and hold it down. So
Okay.
make it maybe somewhat a size where we can actually read the text that's in there. So maybe a little bigger, and you can always slide it a little bit to the left. Yeah. And now go ahead and click out in kind of the gray area outside of the picture. Yeah, you can click there, right there. Perfect. Click there. So, my fault. Go back and click on the bubble.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you see color over there on the far right?
I do.
Okay. Click on color and then click on white. So that
Okay.
way we can see it. So here's a cool thing. Now, with that bubble selected, do we want to give just one thought happening in this picture, or do we want to have a couple thoughts going on? Maybe even someone just with a question mark. That might work.
I could think of some thoughts to add in here.
Oh,
This is James and Sierra from Napa
awesome.
Valley Media in here, right
Oh,
in my house,
awesome.
between midnight and 1 a.m. So,
Okay. So here's what we do. Do you see that little trash can, and then next to it there's a little box with a plus sign? That's
yes.
a duplicate button. So tap on that. So now we've made an extra one. So you can move that one. Now here's the neat thing.
Oh, I can make,
Um,
'cause I want it
if
to
you
fit
tap,
for
you
Sierra.
can make, so here's a cool thing. Yeah, do that. And then go ahead and duplicate another one. And then you can move it over to, I think you said it was James. So here's the
Yep.
cool
And
thing
can I
now.
flip it?
Yes. So what you want to do, and what you'll want to do here, I'm watching you do it, and then I'm not paying attention over here. So tap on the, let's see, tap in the little gray area outside the picture, and then tap on the box again, or on the speech bubble that you want to switch. Okay.
Okay.
Now, right underneath those two sliders, there's a flip button in that kind of
Oh,
dark area. There you go. If you tap it,
there
there you
it
go.
is. Okay.
Awesome. Okay. And then, so now we're going to be adding some thoughts, and I'll leave those thoughts to you. So here's how we're going to add the thoughts. What we're going to do with those thoughts is we want to click on add again, and we're going to add some text this time.
Okay.
And you want to do that first option up there that says add your text. So now you get to type in the thought. And now what I want to do with that, see how it's in a box there? So over on the far right, there's a shape menu. So we're going to get rid of that box. So keep going a little further to your right, and then see that shape. We're going to click on that. And then in that, you see where that first ABC box, slide that slider up. You see, if you move a little bit to your right, a little more, you see that, yeah, slide all the way. Now there's a like don't smoke type deal. Click on that.
No way.
And now,
Okay.
so it's white. So we're going to go to color, and we're going to you can change that. So keep with the text selected, go over to your far right and go to that little color palette. And now we're going to make that black. There we go.
I have always wondered how to get rid of that.
Oh, cool.
That's super
So,
cool.
so now you have, so just kind of caveat, you could always customize which font that is. It always comes up with the kind of the standard one, but you could always go and customize the font. So you can go and add more text. So we have, my husband is going to kill me. So now what's the next thing? So here's the next thought. Let's find out. What is the next thought? And so we're gonna make sure to change that color to change the color again.
Okay.
And then just grab those corners, resize it. And then if you want to, you could grab that and move it up. Actually grab one of the little corners again of the text,
Okay. Okay.
and then slide it a little bit down and out. Like, so maybe, okay, yeah, perfect. You got it to fit there.
There we go. Okay.
So we got one more
All
speech
right,
bubble. So as you're doing this, so think of as you're watching this. So she's creating this, sharing her ideas, her thoughts. Now think of yourself in the classroom. Obviously, we have tons of thoughts going through our minds as we're doing this. Now think of your students as they're creating this content, and how they can share their story. So one of the one of the ideas behind this too is, while you're in the classroom, I know we've all seen those memes of. Um, think of those memes where, I think it's, I'm thinking of the Lord of the Rings character. One does just not something to that effect. But your students can create their own little kind of meme kind of thoughts, meme characters. So awesome. So I think so. I've got this contract dialed as long as awesome. That's
Right. And
cool.
Ed is the ED, the executive
ED.
director, right? Yeah.
So this is really neat. So we just created we shared a story, we shared a happening. So now here's another kind of extension to this. So let's say you had a series of pictures like this. Maybe you took this picture, and then you guys proceeded on and took another picture, and then another one. You could create kind of like a timeline of events, all through thoughts, all through these speech bubbles, so happenings in the classroom. So maybe you're capturing kind of how your day has gone in the classroom, what your students are doing. You're taking the photos of their work, and then you could always ask your students, what are you thinking? Put it on that speech bubble. If you're creating it, maybe you want to share with parents what's going on in the class. It's a cool way to create kind of like sharing a story of what's happening in the classroom. So
Yes.
really, now I if you didn't get a chance, so if you want to share this with someone, I might have kind of jumped ahead, but always there's a download little button when you're in Spark. There's a little button that says download, and you can download it as a JPEG, PDF, and PNG. So you have different options.
Well,
So
let's
if
do
you,
that
yeah,
real
let's do that. Let's take a
quick
look at
then.
that.
I'll share that screen. Okay.
So we have that download right up on the upper right.
Upper
So
right
if
hand
you
corner.
So you have those three different options. So the difference is, if you're not familiar with those different formats, so PNGs are going to be very high quality images. A JPEG is going to be compressed, so you'll basically you by the naked eye you really can't tell the
Okay.
difference. Just people who are kind of photo geeks, I guess, are kind of like, oh, I'd rather have this format because it's got more information in the graphic.
Makes
Um,
sense.
and then a PDF basically creates something that's printable. So why would I print out a PDF? So here's another extension, another idea. So if you create this without the speech bubbles, or I'm sorry, without the text in the speech bubbles, you could always print out a PDF and then have your students write in, speech, thoughts,
Right. Take it
um,
to the analog.
yeah, take it to the analog, because that analog is still awesome. I love analog. So great. I have like stuff all over my desk that's analog. So that's another kind of little extension. So when you start that download, it just goes through a little process. If you're going to click it, oh, yours did it fast. There it is. So
Look at that.
yeah. So if you click on that, you should be able to see.
I usually open mine in Finder so that way it doesn't do anything
It doesn't
funky
up.
because
It doesn't
sometimes
up.
things open up in like apps that you don't expect them to.
Yeah, it opens it like you got a little preview. Now, the other option to share with someone else, so we're talking about sharing our story. There's a share button that universal. I heard someone say this. So, a friend of mine, I don't know where he heard if he came up with this little term, but he called it the sharo.
Yes.
Did you hear?
I
Did you guys?
learned
Did you
that.
hear?
I learned that in
Yeah,
another session. And what's
I
so
was like,
funny, because I remember thinking, right, I don't like, and I remember thinking this in the moment, I'm never going to remember anything about this session. Like, I literally don't even remember what it was. But I learned what a sharo is.
yeah. I was like, I always tell people the share button, and I heard someone say sharo. I was like, woo,
What?
mind blown, mind blown. So you can share that, and you can share it to Google Classroom. You can share just using a link. Remind. You can email it. You can put it on social media. I think Twitter and Facebook are the options on the web browser. So another kind of really neat way to share your stories. Love this kind of activity. There's so many different things that people can create by using those icons. Those icons are so powerful. We did the thought bubble, but then you could add speech bubble. So I'll kind of think of another extension. So your students are kind of doing book reviews, and maybe they
Ooh.
have a character that they're maybe studying, maybe even they're studying different historical figures, and they capture a photo somewhere that they found of, let's say, George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, presidents, or Benjamin Franklin, George Washington Carver, different people, and they could capture a picture and then create all these. If they had social media at the time, what would be something that they would be thinking of? So different ways as they're studying these characters that they can share, kind of like a character selfie bubble thought or something, or a speech bubble. So
Well,
really
that's
cool.
really a great way to take like the application of learning, right? Do my students really understand the context of what they are learning historically? They're applying it, and at the same time, they're learning these real world skills, because the truth is, right, understanding digital media and how to manipulate it is a skill that's very applicable personally and in the workforce right now. People are looking for folks that can do this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So so let's jump to another. So let's see, something else that's really neat to do with Spark is this is creating like an infographic.
Okay.
So let's say you want to. So I'm going to share one that I made. So let me do this. Let me show you one that I made, and this was actually in anticipation of going to Palm Springs. So this was.
Right. Yeah. We're sorry.
Oh no! It's just okay, this. No, not it was. It's COVID. It's not.
Right.
but I was like, okay, because just thinking of ideas. I'm like, oh, this is a little way of me sharing my story of me getting to from Texas to Palm Springs. So I created a little infographic. So let me show you,
Okay.
and then I can show you how I put it together. So
Now,
you
this
can
is
see
on your phone.
this is on my phone. So I'm showing Spark Post. I'm going to jump over to Spark Post here. And so you can, you were on the web version of Spark.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm kind of using Spark Post. So just kind of really quick, there are 3 available apps on iOS: Spark Post, Spark Page, and Spark Video. So they separate them on the iOS platform.
Okay.
And Spark Post right now is available for Android. So Spark Video and Spark Page are still in the works for Android. So if you're on Android, you have Post right now, so you kind of have to hang tight for Video and Page. So here we have my post that I've created. So I'm going to scroll through here, and there it is.
Oh,
So I put this
nice.
together, and it was one of those things. And so I'll kind of share the idea. What I had planned was I was actually creating different infographics as I was getting to there.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my little way of kind of telling my story using an infographic or just graphics. So here's what I did. So to show you how to put this together. So we played with the icons right now.
Uh-huh.
So let me just jump in here, and actually let me do this. Here's a really cool trick in the app before I actually I'm going to leave this one intact. Do you see on the bottom there, there's a duplicate option?
And something happened here, and I'm no longer seeing
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
yours. So I have my screen back.
Okay, let's try again.
There we
Can you see it
go.
again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So on the bottom, there's a delete, edit, and the duplicate button. So I like doing this whenever I create something. So here's kind of an extra tip with as you share stories is you create your first one, then duplicate it so that you have your original as you continue telling your story. So you have all of them still intact.
Good advice.
So I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to say my trip to. So the original was still there. So what this is basically, this is a text box.
Okay.
And so here is, let me click done here. There's my options there to add content. So in fact, let me do this. I'm going to delete that. And
I'm really curious where the states are, like where you.
Cool. So here we go. I think I'll call this my trip to Palm. I think that's what I had. So, and notice it's in black, but that's really easy to fix because we have the color button right down here. And now here we go. So this was kind of tricky for me. I was like, how can I talk about the different states that I'll fly over as I get there? And I was like, oh, so I'll just create this little dotted line and I'll kind of fly around the states. So I figured that'll give the interpretation or the representation that I'm flying. So what each of these, so that is just a text box with the words, the DFW, that's Dallas Fort Worth.
Okay.
And then New Mexico, Arizona, and then we have Palm Springs down there. So I'll just kind of move those to the side. And now let's do this. We're going to take those two out and we're going to add them again. So I go to
I'm
add.
curious. Okay.
So I go to add and then I go to icon. And then let's do Texas. And now I have all these different different types of icons for Texas. So I was kind of looking through here and I said, okay, this one will be fine. And so what I did is just kind of resize it, trying to make it fit there. And then the color is not right. So we go to color and boom. And again, just put the text and so my text is behind. Well, that's cool. That's easy to fix. So I'm going to tap on Texas again, and you see there's an order option down here. If you didn't know that, that's there.
Okay, that's where it's at.
That's also on the web as well. Then I can just slide that down, and it's behind the text now. And so let's add California. Let's go to icon. And now we're going to go to my home state.
Right on.
Here we go. So let's see. Let's do this one here. And then there's a little rotate. Let's make this a little bigger.
Yay, California.
Color. And there's white. There's Palm Springs. Let's make this a little bigger so we can see it. And it's behind, but that's okay. This time.
Okay, so we're just scrolling to the left.
Now this time, because I had the Palm Springs selected, I scrolled to the right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there we go. So we just basically, that's what I did. Just created, added those different icons to represent the states. And let's go ahead and put an M back there. And then here, so the airplanes and the little dotted lines, all of those are also in icons. So I think a lot of people don't even realize that is in there. It's really neat. So what I did with the dotted line, I basically typed in dotted line. And there's a ton of different dotted lines. It is
that easy.
Yeah. So really cool. So look at all the different types of artwork there. So basically grabbed one of those, brought it in. This right here is just a combination of two flipped around. The airplane is also an icon. Airplane, there it is. So and there's all the different types of airplanes. So
Fun.
grab any one of those, and I just brought that in. So created this little infographic to tell the story of traveling to Palm Springs. So think of your students, yourself, how they can maybe a day at the park. Maybe they can
Mm-hmm.
tell their story as they progress, just using icons, not even using their own photos. If a student's kind of little shy, maybe they don't want to put their face on a graphic, you could always use little icons to share their story. Little character walking, and it's kind of little film, kind of like a film strip. I kind of think of the when I used to get the shoebox and a little strip of paper and draw little characters.
Remember that?
Yes. So it's kind of
Old school.
a little digital version of that. So really cool way. So using creating infographics to share your story.
So much to do
So,
with social studies in there as well. I can see the timelines that could be dropped in and how kids
oh
could get
yes,
creative with those icons.
absolutely. Absolutely. So are we good on time? I just
So
want to make
we,
sure
we actually, if you want to, we could do one more if you're up for it.
I'm up for it. So let's see.
Okay.
Let's do. I'm trying to let my brain percolate. I'm looking at all the different things here. Something. Um, Let's do something with video.
Okay.
This is another great way to share stories using video. And so what I'm going to do is let me um, let me actually let's do this. Um, do you have a video on your computer? We have photos. So you
On
have
my
photos.
computer, I just have mostly the
Photos.
still shots, but on
Okay.
my phone.
Phone. Okay. So we can do it on the phone. Let's do it on the phone. So I'll walk you through the phone.
Okay.
So, um, so are you able to share your phone? Or here, I'll do it on my end.
Okay.
I'll share my phone, and then I'll walk you through on your end. How about that? Will that work?
That totally works.
Okay. So here's my phone again. So we are going to go to Spark Video.
Oh gosh, you know what? And I think I've got Spark Posts, but I don't think I have Spark Video on my phone.
No worries, no worries. How about you could always, I'll walk you through on the desktop, and I'll kind of explain.
Okay.
Everything is in a different spot, but it's pretty much works the same. So video is another great tool to share stories, and having it on your phone is awesome because then you can just take a picture, take a video, and have it just right there with you. And so you can see my phone. Can you still see my phone? To make sure I didn't lose
Yep.
my connection. Awesome. So what I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to jump for a second, and I'm going to go to my camera and just capture a quick little video here. In fact, I'm going to tell the story of what we're doing here.
I like this story.
So here we go. This is my setup for live streaming Q virtually. These are my little Star Wars figures. All right. And let's see. I'm going to take a picture. I actually have to take a picture of you right there. So how about let's each of us kind of wave. Cool. That works. Let me try that one again. I'm going to do it this way. So 1, 2, 3, wave. Awesome. All right. So we got a video and a picture. So I'm going to jump to Spark Video. And the plus sign at the bottom. So if you're on the desktop version, there's a red button as well. So if you go to start or create a project, and this time you're going to choose video, and you'll see a little button that says skip. You can skip there. And on the computer is a little bit different than on the phone. Over here it says start with my photos. On the computer, you're going to see a start from scratch, or you're going to see some templates.
Okay.
So I like starting from scratch just so I can use what I have. So on mine, let's start with some photos. So I'm going to go and grab the pictures that I just took. We have. So we go to this picture and do that. And then I'm going to go to editor. So here's the picture. Let me slide that there. And you see that little plus sign right in the middle there?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to give you the option to add some text. So live, let's go. Q live 2020. I'm going to move that over here. And now at the bottom, see that plus sign at the very bottom? I'm going to add that video that I just recorded. So here's the plus sign.
Okay, bottom right-hand
Bottom
corner.
right.
But like if anybody didn't track it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So yeah. Oh yeah. Let me do
Yeah.
that here. Bottom right corner. You see that little that it's almost hard to tell. It's there. That plus sign.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's very elegant the way they've designed the app and the layout and the
let me
tools.
delete. Let me delete that thing. So here we go. Plus sign, video. So here's that video that I just captured,
Mm-hmm.
and this is really neat because it gives me the ability to trim the video so I can cut off. I'm going to keep the whole video here and tap on done. Now I took the video portrait mode,
Uh-huh.
and so it's going to drop it in as it's in portrait. So there's some stuff that's going to get cut off, which I'm okay with. I'm actually fine with that. And you know what? For good measure, I'm going to also add that time lapse that I captured at the beginning.
Okay, that's fun.
So let's see. I think we did. It was the super fast one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that right there so we
Mm-hmm.
can see the whole thing. So we got 3 clips here, and that little microphone that you see there,
Uh-huh.
that gives me the option to actually narrate the story. So as I'm dropping in all these photos and videos, I don't have to worry if I captured any sound. I can actually talk about the story as it's happening and not worry about, hey, did I say the correct thing in the video? So let me press button here. Yes, permission, and let me start again. If you mess up, just release the button, start again.
That's very cool.
Here it, and then make a mistake, let's start again.
Yes. I'm all about that.
Here is, oh, I'm, one more. I'm with Pam at Live 2020. Woo!
Woo! Spring queue, virtual queue.
And so, depending on how it's all connected here, you may not be able to hear. I probably have the audio set up here differently. So what we just recorded is in that clip. So I can go through here and narrate over every single clip. And finally, when I'm all done, really quick, is use the Share.
Oh, we love the Shero. You
And
know, there are people listening to this right now going, no way, that thing has
yeah,
a
I know.
name, right?
And it blew my. I was like, share button, share. Oh, that's just so great. So if you notice, you have the options to share this in different places. So I have saved to my camera roll. Spark does its little magic to create the video. We're saving your video to your camera roll.
Look how fast that
Okay.
is, too.
I love using the phone version because it's just right there. So let's see. Here is the video. So if I press play, and actually because I have my dock connected, you won't be able to hear. But then see that little transition that just happened there? That's all done for you automatically, which is really cool. So I know I just kind of quickly captured video here and dropped it into Spark video, but I like think of your students as they're, telling their stories, putting ideas together, and kind of maybe walking about, maybe doing that little time lapse, and then want to drop it in and kind of add some text overlays to it. This is a great tool for someone who who is maybe just doesn't have another place to share the story. Maybe they're not, I would say, out vocal in the classroom, but this is kind of a really neat way. It's like, well, um, I like creating video because it's a great way for me to share kind of my story, share my vision, share things that I do, and not necessarily have to be in front of the camera. They can be behind the camera and just capture their day as it's going, drop it into that app, slice it all together, put it in a nice little package, and then share it wherever you want. So um, that's just a really neat little tool. And the great thing about all these that I shared, they're free, so you don't have to pay anything for those.
Yeah, that's really nice. Claudio, last year I had a group of eighth grade students make me an Adobe video to convince me to not buy new science textbooks, but to buy iPads. And what they did is they had this like, here are the old textbooks and basically how boring are these things, and then had video that demonstrated their learning, and we were doing place-based science with our
Nice.
middle school students, right? So they were going out to the lakes and rivers, and they were studying the impact of the drought on the local watershed, took them up to the ocean. And so what they were able to do is create this whole video of their learning, and, it was experience-based. They brought in the technology, but I really liked and yeah, I'm kind of tech forward. This is my jam, and this is what I was doing. And I thought, this is so cool that they're trying to convince me to get them more
Oh,
iPads. I'm like, yeah, done.
oh yeah, it's like easily. Yeah, you could convince me. Yes, more iPads. Awesome.
Yes.
I think that's the great thing about this is the mobility of being able to not be confined in a classroom or four walls. They can be outside sharing their stories wherever they're going. Like I said at the beginning, it's like you have a pocket full of creativity that there's just so much possibilities. I used to have to go to the library to go get pictures and have to go look check out a video. Now it's like, hey, I can just go outside, record. My daughter plays soccer. She capture videos of her playing soccer and doing little tricks here and there, and just walking at the park. These are so many different cool ways for you as an educator to share your story, and then in turn, what you learn, you can share with your students for them to share their stories.
That's fantastic. A pocket full of creativity. So, driven by creativity and empowering others to share their stories. You have done an excellent job of helping us learn how to empower our students to share their stories, to share their learning, and to use these tools for ourselves as well. Thank you, Claudio.
And one thing is, I've shared a link to a little, or to say, a remixable design of a Spark post. So if you click on that link, you'll be able to, it'll take you to Spark, and then you can change my picture and add your picture and change the words and make it say your story. So this was awesome. I really enjoyed this time. I love talking about creativity and just storytelling. So much fun.
This was a lot of fun. And before we wrap up, I also do want to let people know you have a YouTube channel. I know I mentioned it at the
Hmm.
beginning of the session, but now that we've spent this time with you, I can't encourage folks enough to go check out this YouTube channel and I'd say mini tutorials, right? They're just the
Yes.
right length where you could be like, hey, I've got 10 minutes, let me go play.
Awesome. Yeah. Check out my channel. Is it okay to share the channel?
It sure is.
Just go to YouTube and you can just type in Claudio Zavala Jr. in the search. You should be able to find my face. I think I have like the beard one or picture there. Or go youtube.com/I am Claudius, because it's like my little nickname there. You can find me either of those two ways. But like I said, I love sharing with others how to tell their stories and different tools that they can use to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. This has been one of the most fun sessions that I've ever been a part of, Claudia. Thank you so
Well,
much. This was a
thank you.
blast.
It was. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, again, thank you for joining us. We loved having you as part of Virtual Q, driven by creativity, empowering others to share their stories. Claudio Zavala, have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone.
That was fabulous.
Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, that was so cool. On behalf of Q, thank you to the Ayers family and Allegretto Vineyard and Resort in Paso Robles, California. As we pivoted from our Spring Q event in Palm Springs, Doug Ayers and his team provided immediate support to bring virtual Spring Q and online learning professional development to you. Cheers.